I'm Ashley and this is Crafty with Ashley. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet these really adorable little crocheted newborn booties. These were inspired by these Anthropologie palmed crochet, or actually these ones are knit, but palmed newborn booties. Now these are sold out. I honestly don't remember how much they were on Anthropologie, but I can promise you mine are cheaper. Uses less than an ounce of yarn, and I already had this yarn in my stash anyway because it was hand-me-downs from my grandma. So these were essentially free for me to make, and they were really fast and fun. So let's get into it. So first off, the materials that you're going to need about an ounce of your primary color of yarn. So you want a weight 3 light yarn, and this is Bernay Softy Baby. This is just something I had in my stash. The color is flannel. It's kind of a gray with a little bit of kind of blue tones, like a cool gray. And just about an ounce. So if you have something in your stash that's a weight 3 yarn that you like the color, you can use that. And then you'll need some sort of specialty fuzzy yarn for your pom-poms. I honestly have no idea what this yarn is. It's just fuzzy. It kind of reminds me of cotton balls, I guess. I'm sure it's not cotton though. It's got to be an artificial fiber. But just find something that's fuzzy that when you crochet it together, it's gonna hide details to make the pom-poms. Do you have a favorite specialty yarn that you really like? If so, just let me know in the comments and I'll look for it. But you only need about a foot, maybe a foot and a half of this specialty yarn. So just get something, if you have something in your stash, use that, or find something that's inexpensive that you like and will use for other projects as well. For the baby booty itself, I use a size G 4.5 millimeter hook, and then for the pom-pom, a size I 5.5 millimeter hook. I said 4.5, I meant 4.25. Anyway, you'll need some stitch markers. I just use bobby pins, a yarn needle to weave in ends, and then scissors. So let's start making the booty. First, we're gonna start by doing a slip stitch. I would say this is about a medium level pattern. Probably not for beginners. You have to make 2 that are the same size, so you need to have pretty consistent tension. There's a few kind of special stitches with the front and back loop only. Those are really easy once you get the hang of looking at your stitches, but maybe advanced beginner to medium level, intermediate level. So we're going to start with, like I said, the slip knot, and then we're going to chain 10 and then single crochet in the second chain from the hook. When I'm working into my chain, I work in this like back bump of the chain. So if you look at the front, you can see there's kind of your typical V's, and then if you look at the back of the chain, there is a little single bump, and that's where I work my crochets into. For this pattern, it doesn't matter that much. You're going to be working into the chain down the other end too. So, okay, so single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then place a marker into that single crochet stitch. And then single crochet into the next 5 chains. Now we're going to half double crochet into the next, and 2 half double crochets into the next one. So into that same stitch, do 2 half double crochets. And then into this final chain, we're gonna do 5 half double crochets. Now, I'm not explaining these stitches in detail. Again, like I said, this is kind of a advanced beginner to intermediate level pattern, but if you do need any explanation on these stitches, check out my playlist. I'll put a link in the description with the tutorials for each of these stitches. They're about 30-second long clips that just teach you the stitch itself. Okay, so we just finished 5 half doubles in that same stitch. Now we're going to work down the opposite side of the chain. So we're working in the round, we're going around to the opposite side, and we're going to do 2 half double crochets into the next chain. And I work over the tail so that I don't have to weave it in at the end. So just hold it along your chain there. So 2 half double crochets and then half double crochet in the next, single crochet into the next 5, and 2 single crochets into the final chain. And now we're back to the beginning of that chain. You should have 25 stitches in this first round. So then we're gonna do 2 single crochets into the where we put the stitch marker, so that very first single crochet. And then you're gonna go ahead and take that marker out and put it into, sorry for the clanking, put it into that first single crochet that you did of this round. Now single crochet 1 time into each of the next 8 stitches. You can see I'm still working over that starting tail. Now I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And 1 into the next. I'm going to do that 3 times. There's 1. 2 single crochets into the next. One into the next. 2 into the next. And 1 into the next. Now I'm going to single crochet into the next 7. 2 single crochets into the next. 1 single crochet into the next. And that gets me to 29 stitches for this round. You can see this is now the bottom of our shoe coming together. So now we're going to begin the next round. Again, we're going to work 2 single crochets into that marked stitch and move the stitch marker to that beginning single crochet of this round. Single crochet into the next 9 stitches. 2 single crochets into the next. And then we're going to single crochet in 1, 2 single crochet in the next, 3 times again. So single crochet, 2 single crochets, single crochet, 2 single crochets, single crochet, 2 single crochets, single crochet in the next 10, 2 single crochets in the next, 1 single crochet in that final stitch of the round. And then here we're going to do a slip stitch to join at the end of the round. Now that slip stitch does not count as a stitch, and we end up with 35 stitches at the end of round 3. Okay, so that's the sole of our shoe. Now, right here, it should measure 4 inches in length. Okay. And you do want to measure it at this point, because if your size is off from that 4 inches, then it's going to be really hard to match the size of your other one. But if you are a little bit bigger on your first one, just try to keep the same crochet and then make sure to measure the second one. Mine are 4 inches though. Okay, so now we're going to start working up the booty. For round 4, we are actually going to work in the back loop only, and we are going to start with a single crochet in the back loop only into the same stitch as we just slip stitched. So I'm gonna remove that marker, but I am gonna keep that stitch and work into the back loop only. Now, when I do single crochets, I do not chain one and then do a single crochet. I just pull my loop a little tiny bit looser and then do my single crochet. Okay, then mark that stitch. And then we're just going to single crochet in the back loop only all the way around this row to end up with 35 single crochet, back loop only single crochets. Once you finish your last back loop only single crochet, again, remember that that slip stitch to the previous, to join the previous round does not count as a stitch. So do not accidentally work into that slip stitch. Just count your 35. It might feel like you're missing one, but that is just the slip stitch. And then you're going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch to that marked first single crochet again. So for round 5, you're going to single crochet, not through the back loop only. Now we're back to regular stitching through both loops, single crochet into that same stitch that you just did the slip stitch and mark your single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet in each stitch around again. Same exact thing at the end of this round, slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And we are going to do for round 6 the exact same thing. So single crochet into that same stitch, mark it, and single crochet in each round. So again, you'll end up with 35 single crochets for this round. Okay, so for the end of round 6, again, slip stitch to that initial single crochet of the round. So you can see now we have like a little basket for the foot to go in. Now we're going to start working on the upper of the booty. I guess it's called the upper. So round 7, we're actually going to skip this stitch. We did a slip stitch to it, but we're not going to work a stitch into it. So we're skipping this and we're gonna single crochet into the next. So skip that. Now I am going to actually mark both that slip stitch that I just did, because we're going to work into the slip stitch this time, but I'm going to mark that slip stitch and I'm going to mark this first single crochet. It's probably unnecessary because I can see they're right next to each other, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to mark both of them. And then I am going to single crochet 11 times. So I skipped that first one, single crocheted, marked it, and now I'm going to do 11, so 10 more. Now I'm going to skip a stitch and work a half double crochet into the next. So skipping this one, working a half double crochet into the next. Now I'm going to double crochet 2 together 4 times. And again, I do have a video specifically on double crochet 2 together. It'll be linked in the bottom. So I just did basically a decrease or double crocheted 2 together there. And I'm doing that 4 times. So that was 1. Now I will half double crochet into the next stitch. Skip a stitch and single crochet into the next 12. And then I'm going to work that number 12 stitch into that slip stitch that I marked. I think that's the only time in this pattern that you're working into a slip stitch. And then I'm just going to remove that marker. And then we slip stitch to that first single crochet that I marked. See how now that's starting the top like 4-foot part of this shoe. All right, round 8, we are again going to skip this first stitch that is marked, and we're going to single crochet into the next 9, marking that first single crochet. Skip 1 and single crochet into the next. Skip 1, single crochet into the next 3. And this is where we got into those single or double crochets 2 together, so they do look a little different, but just single crochet into those stitches. Skip 1, single crochet into the next, skip 1 and single crochet into the next 10. And again, we're not working into that slip stitch this time, so just ignore that, but you'll know you worked in the right spots if you end at the final single crochet and not that slip stitch. Okay, so that was round 8, and you should have 24 stitches now. Round 9, or I guess, sorry, to finish round 8, slip stitch to that initial single crochet. Okay, now we're going to do round 9. Again, we're skipping this first stitch, the one with that is marked, and we're going to single crochet into the next 7. Go ahead and mark that first one. Skip 1 and single crochet in the next, and we're going to do that 3 times. So skip and single crochet, that's 1. Skip and single crochet 2. Skip and single crochet 3. Skip the next one, single crochet into the next 9. And slip stitch to that starting single crochet. So now we're down to 19 stitches. Okay. All right, so for round 10, we are going to work in the front loop only this time. So instead of the back loop, we're working in the front loop only. And we are going to work into the same stitch that we just slip stitched to for this one. In the front loop only, single crochet. And then single crochet front loop only into the next 6. Okay, skip 1 and then single crochet front loop only in the next. Skip 1, single crochet front loop only into the next 8. And slip stitch to your marked stitch. Round 11, we're going to work through both loops now, and we are just going to half double crochet 2 times in every stitch around. So starting in that marked stitch, just do 2 half double crochets into every stitch around. And you'll end up with 32 half double crochets. Slip stitch to join to the first. And now you're going to do 2 rows of half double crochet in every stitch around. So again, you'll have 32 half double crochets at the end of each of these last 2 rounds. I said rows, I meant rounds. Okay, when you get to the end of the final round, slip stitch to join. and then fasten off and weave in your end. And since we crocheted over our starting end, we just have this finishing tail to weave in. And I highly recommend just do it right away, get it out of the way. Don't save it for later when you might never decide to actually go back and do it. Is there a project that you've started and you've gotten to the weaving in end stage and you just decided to kind of quit on it and it's just sitting in the closet waiting for ends to be woven in? Because I've definitely had that happen before. I find that now that I use a yarn needle to weave in my ends instead of trying to do it with a crochet hook, I don't mind it. And I try to minimize the amount of ends that I have by, working over my tails. That way I don't have a lot to weave in at the end. Okay, and then just trim the tail. There is our little baby booty. Now we just have to create the tie for it and the little pom-poms. So the tie, super easy, just chain 60. Same hook, size G 4.25 millimeter hook, and chain 60. Cut, fasten off. And now we're going to weave this through. It's round 10, but just basically where the ankle is. It doesn't have to be super precise. Start by pulling your end from the inside to the outside, right at the front of that ankle. And then work your way around to the other side, around the back. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be super precise. This is just kind of like a drawstring. So just go in and out of your project. I do every 2 or 3 stitches probably, but again, it just doesn't have to be precise. It will work kind of no matter how you do it, as long as there's enough ins and outs. If you do too many, it might be kind of awkward to pull it tight, but. And then when you get toward the end, just kind of maneuver it to where it's gonna come out the front and not through that same exact hole that your first one came out. Just go next to it and then kind of pull it to where they're even. And then I just kind of pull the end of my chains so that it makes a knot and it's not going to come unraveled. Okay, and then when you go to tie this, you'll see you can cinch it up as tight as it needs to be to stay on the little baby's ankle, and that gives it this little ruffly edge that we have, or I don't know, ankle part. I'll just tie this in a bow now, just cause. And then we're gonna make the little palms to add to the end of these ties. And this is kind of where it really, it's cute anyway, but this just takes it to the next level. So switch hooks. Let me clean up my space. I like to keep my yarn needles in their package just so that they don't get lost. Okay, so I'm switching hooks to my size I 5.5 millimeter. Now, this, I will tell you, is not a precise crochet project. Okay, so bear with me, and if you're a little bit OCD, I'm sorry. This is not going to appeal to you, but I don't have great luck with making pom-poms for baby items because I feel like they just like to fall apart. So I decided just to crochet like a little cotton ball, basically. So I'm just gonna slip knot and then chain 3. And then I'm just gonna, sort of, slip stitch to that initial chain. Now, to be honest with you, I cannot see what I'm doing with this yarn at all. And so I'm just going wherever. And that's the beauty of this part. Now, again, can't see what I'm doing. So if I worked really hard at it, I probably could. Don't care that much. I just want this to stay like a ball. So I'm just gonna put my hook through the yarn and single crochet. Wherever, just stick it through and single crochet. Okay, and I am kind of working over that tail. So that's 2, let's see, just keep going. 3, again, just kind of sticking it in and doing single crochets. 4, stick it through. 5, 6, I want to make it kind of a ball or like a sphere, so I'm going to kind of go through this way to get some height here. Don't remember how many that was, but yeah, just keep going until it's about the size that you want, honestly. And if you feel like it's flat in one spot, throw a single crochet there and kind of make it a sphere. And I'm just literally shoving my hook in anywhere. It does not matter. The point is, you basically just want this like a big knotted ball that's not gonna come apart on these. And I went for making it about a 1-inch diameter. So when you get to that, you can stop. Okay, so I probably did, I don't know, I lost count, maybe 10 single crochets. I'm gonna throw one more in over here just because it's looking a little bit flat right here. So let's go through here and do one more. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tie and I'm going to insert my hook through the end of this chain and work a single crochet. And this is just going to help secure it to that tie. So actually I'm gonna start by going through my ball. Just, it's gonna make it more secure. And then through my tie. And then I'm gonna make a single crochet through that tie, okay? And then kind of do it again. Again, like I said, not precise, okay? So again, I'm going to keep apologizing. I'm sorry if you're slightly OCD. This is maybe not the part of the project for you. Just do a traditional pom-pom and secure it on how you normally would. I'm not good at that, so I'm doing it this way. And it's very secure. So I'm going to now trim this end and just tie it off. Okay. Get it nice and secure. And then let's just do one more tie off for good measure. I don't really want this to fall apart. But otherwise, I'm not super concerned about it. I think it's going to stay together pretty well. And I just trim off those tails. Okay, so there is the little pom-pom on the end. Okay, not a precise project, like I said, but I think it's going to stay really good. It's basically one big knot of yarn and it looks like a little cotton ball, and I think it's cute. So I'm going to do the same thing onto the other end. Okay, that time I counted since I wasn't talking, and I did 12 single crochets. It's about the same size. So now let's work into my tie. There is our finished baby booty with 2 little pom-pom ends on the ties. And I successfully created 2 that were the same size. All right, guys, these were so fun and easy to make. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you are looking for other handmade baby items, check out this little car seat blanket. It's the perfect gift for a baby shower, and I think that they would go together perfectly in a little package together. Check it out. Thanks for watching, guys.